Uh,
It's a ball and socket type of joint, isn't it? And it is formed
yes.
with 143 page. I'll take you to this one. See, it's a ball and socket type of joint, and the articulating surfaces, what we have is the glenoid cavity of the scapula and head of the humerus, isn't it? So, ball and
Yes, ma'am.
socket type of synovial joint. Okay. So, articular
Uh,
surfaces. Now, ligaments, what we have are, we have three, like what are the various ligaments here? Like we have coraco, see, acromial ligament and glenohumeral ligaments will be there. Superior, middle and inferior glenohumeral ligaments. Okay, transverse humeral ligament. Proper diagram is not there. In my PowerPoint, I have discussed this class in fact. So like any other joint, first thing you should talk about the capsule beta, attachment of fibrous capsule. So the attachment of fibrous capsule will be along the margins of the glenoid cavity and the anatomical neck of the humerus. Inside of the fibrous capsule will be lined with synovial membrane. Then between the glenoid cavity and the humerus, we have three ligaments like this. So which are called as glenohumeral ligaments, like superior, middle and inferior glenohumeral ligaments. And if you remember the structure of this humerus bone, we have intertubercular sulcus with medial and lateral lips.
yes.
So isn't it better? So bridging medial and lateral lip, you have transverse humeral ligament, which gives passage to the long head of biceps brachiae muscle. Isn't it better? So those ligaments only are
Yes, ma'am.
expanded. Apart from that, you also have an arch above. You call it as coracoacromial arch, which is only a support, not a direct ligament. Then glenoid cavity margins, you will have a fibrocartilaginous attachment. You call it as glenoidal labrum, which deepens the glenoid cavity because structurally it looks like a weak joint now, so it is very much shallow, so it is deepened by the attachment of the glenoidal labrum throughout. Okay beta, so those are the ligaments. Then see, the various bursae we have is like just below this deltoid muscle we have subdeltoid bursa, just below the subscapular muscle we have subscapularis bursa, below the infraspinatus muscle we have infraspinatus bursa. These bursae are in communication. Now when you just talk about the relations, you have to practice this diagram. This is the shoulder joint. Superiorly we have, this is all deltoid muscle, anterior and posterior fibers it has. Okay, and these are the relations what you see anteriorly. Pectoralis major, coracobrachialis, and this is subscapularis. Behind the posterior fibers of deltoid, then you will see this infraspinatus teres minor. Lower down we have the long head of triceps brachiae muscle. Okay, so these are the relations. You are finding one bursa also, the largest bursa, that is subdeltoid or subacromial bursa. So once you talk about relations, then the blood supply comes from the axillary artery. Okay, and the third part of axillary artery gives anterior
Yes,
circumflex humeral, posterior circumflex humeral, suprascapular and subscapular. Nerve supply, SAM, you remember, SAM, SAM. So suprascapular nerve, axillary nerve, musculocutaneous nerve. Movements, better you have to practice this table better. And only main muscles are required. You need not go with accessory muscles. Flexion, pectoralis major, anterior fibers of deltoid. Extension, posterior fibers of deltoid and latissimus dorsi, and so on. Okay, you refer to this table. And then coming to applied anatomy, see glenoid cavity is shallow and head of the humerus is quite big, then the chances of dislocation are quite common. Okay, that is one. We
okay.
can talk about the shoulder joint dislocation. Most commonly approached. See, suppose if we want to do any surgical repair, generally we take anteriorly, we just approach. And frozen shoulder is, you remember like there are rotator cuff muscles around the
Uh,
capsule of the shoulder joint, six, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and
six.
teres minor and subscapularis. No? So they actually flatten out
Yes,
the
ma'am.
capsule before they get inserted on the greater and lesser tubercles of the upper end of the humerus bone, isn't it? So, like suppose if these
huh.
they get inflamed, then person will not be able to do overhead abduction. That condition is called frozen shoulder. Okay, frozen shoulder.
Okay.
So if there is any irritation in diaphragm, you will also see there is a referred pain at the shoulder tip. These many points are more than enough. Beta. Dislocation, shoulder tip pain, frozen shoulder, surgical approach anteriorly. Okay, beta? So that is about
Okay, ma'am.
the shoulder joint. Mm, palmar aponeurosis and median cubital vein. Only these two questions. See, palmar aponeurosis. What is median cubital vein, beta?
Uh,
Keep recollecting in the brain. Meanwhile, I'll show you palmar aponeurosis.
okay.
Or else I will tell you, no problem. Cephalic and basilic veins we have, no beta? On the lateral
Huh.
side we have cephalic vein, on the medial
Right.
side we have basilic vein. Connecting cephalic and basilic veins, we have a vein which is called as median cubital vein.
Median cubital vein.
Cubital vein is generally like selected to collect the intravenous blood. Okay, beta?
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, and also for like if you want to go with IV, some fluids to give IV transfusions also, we choose that vein only. Okay, then you are find
Okay.
in the palm just below the skin, you will find there is a thickening. Actually, palmar is longest muscle. It like fans out in the palm. Okay, to form this palmar aponeurosis. Apex is towards the flexor retinaculum and base is towards the head of the metacarpal bones. We have four slips. Okay, fifth slip is not there. That means there is
Okay.
no slip sent to the thumb, which will facilitate easy movements of thumb. It is plus point. The grip is increased because there is no slip of palmar aponeurosis going to the thumb. Now, at the heads of the metacarpal bones, it will further divide into superficial slip and deep slip. Okay, superficial slip will come close to the skin and deep slip goes to the deeper component of bone. Okay, those are the metacarpal bones, heads of the metacarpal bones. Now, between these four slips, you are finding
Okay.
the interdigital vessels and nerves, which are nothing but the branches coming from the superficial and deep palmar arches and the median and ulnar nerve. Okay. So
Okay.
that is about palmar aponeurosis. In palmar aponeurosis, it gives a septa also lower down. It gives origin to the muscles which are there in the palm. Very small only, beta. And if there is any infection, there is a condition which is called as Dupuytren's contracture. Dupuytren's contracture is a condition where this becomes all contracted and it is folded, it is closed. Okay, so that is palmar aponeurosis.
Okay.
Just give one reading, you will recollect. Now I will take you to another book, beta. Chorosia, head and neck. Because most of the questions have come from there only. Now coming, do you remember thyroid gland, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
It has two lobes, isthmus. It has true capsule,
Yeah.
false capsule.
Yeah, exactly.
False capsule is derived from pretracheal fascia. True capsule is the condensation of the gland itself. Isn't it?
Huh.
Blood supply. Can you tell me the blood supply?
Superior thyroid artery.
Very good. And inferior thyroid artery. Superior
Inferior
thyroid
thyroid
artery
artery.
is a branch of which artery?
Uh, I don't remember, ma'am.
Okay. External carotid artery.
External carotid. Okay.
Inferior thyroid artery is a branch of subclavian artery, thyrocervical trunk.
Okay.
Okay, then also we will see thyroid and then here. See here. So it has like you just go with dimensions like the length is 5 centimeters, okay, and then you will see measurement width is 2.5 and also Diameter is also 2.5. Isthmus is length is 1.2 and width is also 1.2. So the weight is 25 grams. We have true capsule and false capsule. False capsule is derived from pretracheal fascia. True capsule is derived from the condensation of the gland. Below the true capsule, we have the venous plexus. Okay. So
Okay.
during thyroidectomy, we should see like we are removing the gland along with true capsule so that we are not disturbing this venous network. Otherwise, there will be heavy bleeding during surgery. Whereas in case of prostate
Okay.
gland, we have between true and false capsule outside venous plexus is there. That's why scooping out, as though we are scooping out ice cream, we should remove this prostate gland without disturbing the capsule. Otherwise, venous network will be disturbed. Okay, beta. So now you see here right
Okay.
lobe, left lobe, isthmus. So when you talk about isthmus, it has an upper border, lower border, anterior surface, posterior surface. When you talk about this each lobe, it has like anterior border, then posterior border, then medial border. Then it will have lateral surface, anterior medial surface, posterior medial surface. This becomes apex and this becomes base. After knowing the gross features, you have to draw this diagram and see the relations. This is isthmus and these are the two lobes. Anteriorly, it is related to sternocleidomastoid and you remember flat muscles, strap muscles, sternothyroid, sternohyoid, omohyoid. Okay, all these muscles are here. Behind two tubes are there, trachea and esophagus. On either side, we have
Okay.
carotid sheath with its contents. So we have internal, like common carotid artery, internal jugular vein. In between, we have vagus nerve behind sympathetic chain around the sheath anteriorly ansa cervicalis. Okay, beta.
Okay.
Now coming to the blood supply, as you said, it is coming from superior thyroid artery, which is a branch of external carotid,
External
inferior
carotid.
thyroid artery, which is a branch of subclavian, which in turn, through its thyrocervical trunk, it gives inferior thyroid artery. So superior thyroid artery at the apex of thyroid gland, it is dividing into anterior division and posterior division and subclavian artery behind it is again going up. You can see it is giving one ascending branch which goes in anastomosis with the posterior branch of superior thyroid artery. Okay, beta?
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Venous drainage, we have three set of veins like superior thyroid vein, middle thyroid vein, inferior thyroid vein. Superior and middle ones will
Okay.
drain into internal jugular vein, whereas inferior thyroid vein will directly drain into brachiocephalic vein. Okay, beta. The nerve
Okay.
supply, superior thyroid artery is closely related to external laryngeal nerve. Inferior thyroid artery is closely related to recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay. The nerve supply
Okay.
comes from middle cervical ganglion. So, and partly from superior and inferior cervical ganglia. Histology, we have to talk about these follicles better. So, these follicles are lined with cuboidal cells. Between the thyroid follicles, we will see parafollicular cells. Parafollicular cells are concerned with the release of that hormone we have studied now, beta, calcitonin, which lowers the blood
Calcitonin.
calcium. And follicular cells
Huh.
are concerned with the release of T3 and T4. This pinkish material in the middle is actually colloid. Okay.
Okay.
Good. So clinical anatomy, enlargement of thyroid gland, we see in iodine deficiencies, that is goiter. If thyroid carcinoma is there, generally thyroidectomy is done. We should take care not to cut the parathyroid glands which are behind, which I told you yesterday. Okay? Just a minute.
Okay.
So, thyroidectomy in case of cancers, Hashimoto's thyroiditis is an autoimmune disease. Like that, we have. Now, when you talk about development from the floor of the mouth, you have thyroglossal duct which is growing down and it just bifurcates. It comes in contact with the fourth pharyngeal pouch. It completely grows to form two lobes and isthmus. Okay, let's go through once embryology also. Beta. You will recollect.
Okay.
So that is gross features, blood supply, microscopic anatomy and development. Then inferior cerebellar peduncle physiology, when I was discussing, I told you, Novita, like POP-CV star is the code to remember the
Top
tracks.
TV star.
Do you remember that? Beta? Inferior
Yes, ma'am.
cerebellar peduncle is actually
Yes, ma'am. I remember
connecting.
the code.
Inferior cerebellar peduncle is connecting the middle oblongata to the cerebellum. So it will have afferent connections and efferent
cerebellum.
connections. Okay, that you should write. Then lateral ventricle we will see.
Okay.
Yeah. Lateral ventricle is actually an essay question. We just gave a big question. Okay. See for cerebellum. See, this is the inferior cerebellar peduncle beta. I told you POP, POP, C, B, STAR. These are all afferent tracts. Posterior spinocerebellar, olivocerebellar, paraolivocerebellar, cunocerebellar. Okay. Then S triamedullaris, trigeminocerebellar, anterior external arcuate fibers, reticulocerebellar. These are afferent connections. Efferents are OVR. You remember this code. Always starts with cerebellum. Cerebello olivary, cerebello vestibular, cerebello reticular, like that. So this you should write for cerebellum. Okay, then we'll go with lateral ventricle. Where do we see lateral ventricle? Inside the cerebrum. Right cerebrum, one lateral ventricle. Left cerebrum, one lateral. So we have two lateral ventricles. No, better. So
Yes, ma'am.
So each lateral ventricle will have anterior horn, posterior horn, inferior horn and central part. Isn't it? Four components. See here.
Yes.
See, suppose this is bluish area you are finding. You just imagine this is one cerebrum beta. Okay. So in the cerebrum, see here. So do you remember it has frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe and temporal lobe?
And temporal lobe. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So the one which is going into frontal lobe is anterior horn. The one which is going into occipital lobe is posterior horn. The one which is going into the temporal lobe is inferior horn. And the one which is in the middle is the central part. So this whole thing, light blue color, is nothing but lateral ventricle. Okay. So right cerebral
Okay.
hemisphere, one lateral ventricle. Left cerebral hemisphere, one more lateral ventricle. The two lateral ventricles are connected by means of interventricular foramen, also called as foramen of Monro. From there, CSF will move to third ventricle. Third ventricle is a cleft between two thalami. Okay. That is.
Okay.
And see here, beta, this is the outline. So you think like this is one cerebrum, this is one more cerebrum. So this becomes anterior horn, central part, posterior horn and inferior horn. Similarly, anterior horn, posterior horn, central part and inferior horn. The two right and left ventricles are connected by means of interventricular foramen of Monro. From here, CSF is moving to third ventricle. From here, it will move to fourth ventricle. From fourth ventricle, it will move to central canal of spinal cord. Like that. That is the circulation of CSF. Now,
Okay.
each horn you have to talk about relations, but now when you talk about, see the anterior horn, we know it is in the frontal lobe, isn't it? So now see here, these are the,
Huh.
first we are talking about central part. Central part means this part, but where I kept arrow, this one and this one. So just practice this diagram. Superiorly, it is related to body of corpus callosum. Inferiorly, it is related to caudate nucleus. Medially, it is related to septum pellucidum. Inferiorly, it is related to stria terminalis and thalamostriate vein. More inferiorly, you are finding this third ventricle inside which you have this choroid plexus for the formation of CSF. Just practice this diagram, give in your own words. Now coming to, see this one is anterior horn beta, the one which is in frontal lobe. So again, superior relation, this is one anterior horn, this is one more anterior horn. And this is in between, we have septum pellucidum. So superiorly again corpus callosum, inferiorly head of caudate nucleus, more inferior-medially you have anterior commissure. Okay, beta? Just practice
Okay.
this diagram. Looking at that, you can write. Then this is inferior horn. The inferior horn means coming to temporal lobe. So this is all inferior horn. So superiorly, it is related to these three structures: stria terminalis, tail of caudate nucleus, then tapetum. Then inferiorly it is related to fimbriae, then dentate gyrus, okay, and the uh, like collateral eminence. Collateral sulcus is producing this projection which is called as collateral eminence. This is the collateral sulcus, what we see in the sulci and gyri of brain. More medially, it has choroid plexus for the secretion of CSF. The last horn what we have is the posterior horn in the occipital lobe. This is the posterior horn. So superiorly it is related to these three structures. Tapetum, optic radiations, okay, and these optic radiations and tapetum. You try to remember, okay. Then inferior longitudinal fasciculus. These three structures, beta 1, 2, 3. Then inferiorly it is related to forceps major. It's a part of corpus callosum, forceps major. This much is enough. Okay, better? That is lateral ventricle. I also told you
Okay.
the circulation of CSF anyways. Then,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Microscopic anatomy of elastic artery. Elastic artery, any artery, basically it has three layers, tunica intima, tunica media, and tunica adventitia. So in the intima, you will have
Okay.
basement membrane and endothelial cells. In the tunica media, we have internal elastic lamina and external elastic lamina. And in the media, you will have so many
Huh.
elastic fibers. Okay, in between elastic fibers, few smooth muscle cells are also found. Okay, and tunica adventitia has
Okay.
connective tissue, collagen fibers. Tunica adventitia outside.
Okay.
Elastic artery is aorta. So tunica adventitia will have vasa vasorum. That means small blood vessels which are giving blood supply to the big blood vessel like aorta. Okay, that is
Okay.
lymphatic drainage of
Ma'am, that's in which chapter, ma'am?
this one. This is from histology beta. I didn't focus
Oh,
histology book. You just refer
okay,
histology
okay.
diagram. Diagram histology you practice better.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Then lymphatic drainage of breast is upper limb. We'll go back again. Then I will finish up these first. Caudate nucleus. Where do you see caudate nucleus better?
Uh, I don't know.
These are the deeper nuclei what we see in the cerebrum better. It forms the
Okay.
relation with thalamus. You see corpus striatum. So corpus striatum, this is all the deep gray matter what you find inside the white matter of cerebrum. Okay, so it
Okay.
comprises of caudate nucleus. So if you just look at this nucleus, blue in color, below this lateral ventricle, you are finding there is one nucleus like this, blue in color. This is nothing but caudate nucleus. So what is the shape it has? It is C-shaped, comma-shaped nucleus which is surrounded by lateral ventricle. So within the concavity of caudate nucleus, this is actually very important question of internal capsule. Anterior horn, genu and posterior horn of the internal capsule. Isn't it? That means within its
Yes.
sheathfold, it is actually enclosing the thalamus and the internal capsule. So this has head, body and tail. So that means this is head, this is body and this area is tail. The tail, the blue, yellow colored structure at the tail is amygdaloid body which is seen at the tail of caudate nucleus. Okay, I'll just draw this picture. So
Okay.
it's all band of gray matter. So nearby nuclei are connected like putamen. Okay, just read once better caudate nucleus. So it's actually, if you recollect internal capsule diagram, this was internal capsule, no Ritika? Anterior limb,
Yes.
genu and posterior limb. This is midline of the brain. So superiorly it is related to head of caudate nucleus, inferiorly thalamus. More laterally you have, this is all lentiform nucleus, which has further subdivisions like globus pallidus and putamen. These words will come when you are talking about caudate nucleus for connections. So don't get confused. This is external capsule. This one, white area, outside to which we have
Okay.
claustrum, claustrum. So these words may come when you are talking about caudate nucleus. So try to understand its structure and the other picture is coronal section. This is coronal section. Different sections we take in brain, so don't get confused. Okay.
Okay.
Then supply soft palate. Then phylum terminal. The terminal part of the, what is phylum terminal? Spinal cord.
Spinal.
Extension of pia mater, no? Extension of pia mater. It will have two
Yes.
parts, phylum terminal internal, phylum terminal external. Terminal internal is the part which is covered with dura mater, and the phylum terminal external is the one which is not covered with dura mater. Okay, so that is overall it
Okay.
measures around 25 centimeters better. Phylum terminal.
Okay.
Olfactory bulb we will see at the base of the brain. So olfactory pathway, recently I was discussing in physiology, there you saw olfactory bulb, there we had mitral cells. Same thing you can draw with
Yes.
olfactory bulb. Okay.
Okay.
Specific answer generally in neuroanatomy, I don't think it is discussed. The base of the brain, generally in the cerebrum, we have the olfactory bulb, it will go back, it forms the olfactory tract and it has medial and lateral striae. Yeah, this one better. This is the base of the brain. The base of the brain, are you finding this?
Uh,
Olfactory bulb. And this is
uh,
olfactory tract. It divides into two. This is the medial stria and this is the lateral stria. In between we have the perforated substance, anterior perforated substance. This is the pathway which carries the sensation of smell and related to limbic system. Limbic system, the one which controls emotions, love, hatred, pain, everything. Okay, that is olfactory. You, if you draw and write few points, also it's enough. Okay, beta. So, lymphatic drainage of mammary gland. So, mammary gland is divided into how many quadrants, beta? Four quadrants, no?
okay.
Breast self-examination. You see better. See, this is mammary gland and it is divided into how many? Four quadrants. This is the midline.
Okay.
Upper medial, lower medial, upper lateral, lower lateral. So each quadrant will be draining into axillary group of lymph nodes. So we have superficial and deep lymphatics better. So these all lymphatics will finally drain into axillary group of lymph nodes. Okay. So that is
Okay.
some lymphatic drainage. So lymph nodes we have like lymph from the breast is draining into axillary group of lymph nodes. So chiefly the anterior group they go into, posterior, lateral, central, finally apical. So overall it is draining into axillary group of lymph nodes. So from here you will see in this area the lymph which is drained in this way, again it will be draining internal mammary or parasternal group of lymph nodes which are here. So from here it will then go to supraclavicular group of lymph nodes. Okay. So some of the lymph nodes are also connected to below diaphragm. Okay, below diaphragm that is subdiaphragmatic. So the lymphatic drainage of the breast connections with subdiaphragmatic. So which one has subdiaphragmatic? See, this one lower medial group will have connections with subdiaphragmatic group of lymph nodes. That's why breast cancer through these lymphatic vessels can spread to abdomen and through peritoneum it may spread to ovary leading to a tumor called as Krukenberg's tumor. Krukenberg's tumor. Okay, the tumor which is seen on the surface of ovary. That means deposition of cancer cells from the breast, they got deposited on the liver. Okay, beta?
Okay, ma'am.
These are the internal mammary group of lymph nodes. The four quadrants, these are anterior axillary, posterior axillary, central and lateral axillary. From here to internal mammary, from here to apical, then supraclavicular. Finally, it will drain into thoracic duct only. Okay, that is.
Okay.
That is better. Inferomedial quadrant will drain into subdiaphragmatic. That point you remember. Okay, just give one reading because lymphatic
Okay.
drainage of mammary gland is very, very important, beta. It's a separate question always.
Oh,
Yeah, otherwise it will come as an
okay.
essay. Overall mammary gland is an essay question, beta.
Okay, okay.
Okay, beta. So we have done almost everything. So give one reading and if possible try to practice and write the exam better for yourself.